Welcome to the Sublime Soiree. We are so excited to have a special friend and guest at the table today, Tina Toedt. Tina is a wonderful wife, mom, Mimi, artist, and a joyful follower of Christ. She's also the author of a new book that was just released called The Art of Retirement, Opening the Next Door. And we'd like her to share with you a little bit about her insights, but also this new project.
Yes. Tina, thank you so much for joining us here. And we're so happy to be gathered with you here. And we're really looking forward to hearing not only about Tina's retirement, but also what led you to write this book.
Sure.
But before we do that, we wanted to see if you could share with us a little bit about yourself and also about your family.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you both for just welcoming me here. I mean, it's such a pleasure to spend this time with you today. So I really appreciate both of you. And I guess what led me to write the book, that's what you want to know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my story, my retirement story, is a 3 times a charm story because it took me 3 times to retire from my beloved job of teaching.
Okay.
I was an elementary school teacher. I started by having my own preschool way back when my kids were little. It was in my home. It was a little Christian preschool. And then I went into Christian teaching and I did that, got my master's and everything. And I always loved watching people learn and grow. Mm-hmm. And so it was... But I knew it was time for me to actually step away from teaching when I moved here to Ohio, because I'm from Chicago suburbs originally, my husband and I. And so we decided to move here after we moved here because we wanted to be a part of our daughter, her husband, the 3 kids growing up. So our grandchildren and daughter and son-in-law's lives. And part of the ministry at Parkside Green Church. So that's why we moved here, and that was my first retirement, and that was great, right? When you first retire, everything's peachy, but then reality set in a few years after that, and I was like, oh boy, wow, I really haven't plugged in the way I thought I would. I haven't, I don't know, I just felt like kind of stagnant. I didn't feel like I was growing like I needed to. And my husband was still working. So that made it a little difficult too. So I decided to go back to work. And after I got the job, I was a part-time activities director at this. It turned out to be an assisted living because a lot of the same things that I enjoyed about teaching, I was able to do there. So I was able to play games, plan field trips, plan lessons, exercise with the people, and just have a relationship with them and teach them things. And that's what I really enjoyed. I had a Bible study with them, with another lady, and so we had a lot of fun together. And then, but then it got too much. I was in the caregiving phase with my mom, and she moved in and into the assisted living actually, and then my husband went through a few things with his health. So I decided to totally step back from all of that. And then the following year, I went back into teaching at a real Christian school here at Chapel Hill Christian School. Okay. Stumbled upon it actually at their open house. They had a grand opening when they moved. And my husband and I were like, wow, this place looks great. So I ended up working there on and off again for a few years and met a lot of wonderful people and families, and I really enjoyed that. And then it was time to step back again, and COVID hit. And then after COVID, I wanted to be a part of the solution of helping these families reassimilate to life and doing school. So, but then I knew it was definitely time for me to retire after that. So I was like a ping pong ball for a few years. Just, should I retire, should I not? And then I thought, okay, if I'm having this hard time, and I love change and I love transition, what about other people my age? They're probably either going to be having this issue or have this issue now. So it's not just for people going to retire, It's also for people who are retired and it's not going the way they thought it would, right? So that's exactly why I wrote this book, so that I could help them repurpose their life for the Lord in retirement. Long story short.
So friends, we are kicking off a new year, and that means a new season.
Yes.
So you're in a season of retirement. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And who would you picture is the ideal reader for this book?
Well, like I said, the ideal reader for this book is someone who is going to retire. They know they want to, maybe in a year or 2 or 3, and they want to do it right the first time. And I would love to be able to coach them through it, and I kind of wrote down some steps in the book about how to do it. You have to retire, and then you have to look at your strengths and see how you can change, take the good parts of your job and totally redo that in your own life. And then you repurpose, and then you rejoice. So there's 4 steps: retire, redecorate, repurpose, and rejoice. And so that would be the first group of people that I would recommend it to. The other group of people, like I said, would be the people who have already retired and they need to redo. So, and it's okay. Life is flexible. The Lord puts all these things in our way, good things and bad things to learn from, right? I've learned so much in my 3 retirements.
Yeah. We have a favorite phrase called falling forward.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll stumble, but we'll just fall forward. So right from the introduction of the book, Tina, you talk with people and really encourage them to do 2 things. You encourage them to reframe their picture of retirement, because so many of us look at it as a natural ending, and you say, no, let's look at it as a new beginning.
That's right.
And then the other thing that you share is that they do need to plan, that planning is a really important step. So why? Why would you say reframing and planning are such key steps to retirement?
Yes, because you want to feel comfortable in your retirement. You need to have purpose. We were made to have structure in our lives. We were made to have a purpose in our lives. The Lord wired us that way. And so many people go into their career, or maybe, if they're stay-at-home moms or dads, they do what feels comfortable to them, and they don't realize that they can actually find joy in other areas, whether it be serving or volunteering or working, but they need to kind of step back from themselves. One exercise I have people do is to write down all the things about their job or if they're a stay-at-home mom or dad, all the things about child rearing that they love. And what were those things? And then you step back, like my husband, for instance, he always wanted to be a chef, and he always wanted to be a gardener, but he could only do that on a limited basis because he was an executive in his company. He traveled so much, he didn't have time to do any of that. So he knew that's what he wanted to do. So he started planning for that years in advance.
Okay.
And now he's full blown into it, and I'm the benefactor, believe me.
Yes.
So that's exactly it. You need to start, I would say 2 to 3 years prior to your retirement, kind of write down what you wanted to do. I knew I wanted to spend much time with my little grandchildren. That's why I moved here. I wanted to be a part of their lives. I didn't want to be a long distance grandparent. I mean, if you have to be, that's fine.
Sure.
But it's so much easier to be an actual part of their life. Now, my other grandchild said, all that. I have to say that he is very far away. He's 13 hours away in Minnesota.
Okay.
And I don't get to see him as often. So there are ways to go to great lengths to be a part of their lives.
Yes.
But if there's any way you can be near a grandchild, I think it's just really, really special.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. And then look at the gifts and abilities that you're not sure if you have, but maybe you would like. For instance, art. Like when I taught, I always loved to do crafts with the kids. And you know, whether they're reading, then, okay, you're going to do a craft to go along with the story. You know, that's part of the project. I was a project-oriented teacher, you should say, I should say. But, so I did a lot of crafts. And even with the elderly, I was always doing crafts with them. And then I wanted to learn how to actually do artwork. So that's what I did. It was actually 2 friends from this church encouraged me to take a colored pencil sketch class. And that was 13 years ago. Wow. And now I do it, because of COVID, now I do it online, on Zoom. And it's wonderful. I've made many paintings for other people, for myself. I make them into greeting cards, that kind of thing. So find your gifts, and then find how you're wired. And I think all of that is very, very important. And structure your day according to your body clock too. Sometimes your body clock, like my husband, is not a morning person, and I am. So I get up, crack of dawn, watching the sunrise is my favorite, right? And he is content to sleep till 9 o'clock but then he goes to bed late, you know. And so, but that's okay, because however you feel comfortable, however God wired your body to whatever rhythm it's in, why fight it, right? You're retired. You get to make it yours. Own your own day.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I love
And for the Lord too. It's not just for me. It's for, I could serve better. I could read scripture better in the morning. I do a lot of my work in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally understand that.
Well, this kind of piggybacks off of what you just shared about, you know, being your own person. You talk about your unique design and how that fits into retirement, and you even give some tools in the book about that. Can you tell us a little bit about why that's so important in retirement?
Yes, so there is a strength finder test that I took, and it was so accurate for me. I'd love for you guys to take it and tell me what you think.
Yes, for
It costs a little bit of money, but you could find it. I think I have the reference for it in my book. It's called the Strength Finder Test, and I found out that I'm a lifelong learner, which I kind of knew. I'm an achiever, which means, to me, it means whatever I do for the Lord, I like to do with excellence. I love, you know what I mean? It's not that I want, I'm an achiever.
Right.
But it's I want it to be done well. I don't want it to be mediocre. And then positivity, that, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and we need to make the best of it and learn how we can either help others who may go through the same situation, or how we can help our families and that kind of thing, or ourselves. And then the other thing is, how do you learn best? How did you learn best as a student, right? Because sometimes we learn, some people are only auditory learners.
Right.
I am not. I'm an auditory learner, but with the hearing loss. So sometimes I don't hear everything. So then, but I'm a visual learner, right? And I'm also a hands-on learner. And so those 3 things. I'm a social person. Some people are not social, and that's okay. That's just the way they are.
Right.
And so they would want jobs where they don't have to be social, like volunteer jobs I'm talking about, or second career jobs, consulting, that type of thing. You know, there are so many ways to learn new things now. As a senior, a lot of our college classes are free for us. You know, exercise, make sure you exercise, and a lot of those classes are free.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. So many of us tend to think of retirement as a freewheeling season. We don't have a schedule. We don't have anybody that we really report to. There's we really have the freedom to do whatever we want any time of day. And that's great, but you really suggest that retirement is a season of intentionality.
Yes.
And so we were wondering if you could just explain that to us and to our audience a little bit better. What's that mean about having a retirement of intentionality?
Yes, well, it's kind of like what I spoke about earlier, is that you have a reason for everything that you do. Kind of make a mock schedule. Be intent in your day. And knowing that it could be flexible,
Yes.
you know. Somebody in your family could get sick, or now you need to be a caregiver and you weren't planning on that. But be intent on knowing that you really want to do whatever it is that you wanted to do. And knowing, like I said, that it can change.
Okay. Okay.
So in the book, you talk about walking through 7 different doors.
Yes.
Could you explain what those doors are for us?
Yes, I will. Let me just make sure I don't forget any. So the first door is the door to rediscovery. That's when you rediscover your strengths and or things that you think that you want to be able to do in retirement, either for yourself or for others. And the next door is the door to intention. And that is when you intend to put those gifts that you have into action. You are intentional with your days. And you could even forecast out to a year from now. Okay, like I'm kind of like, I don't know if you guys do this, but I like to visualize how things are going. Like I have a book signing tomorrow. I'm trying to visualize, because they're with people I don't really know, and so I'm visualizing, myself in that situation, and who will come, and I'm praying for it. So it's all part of it, So things that are going to come up in your day, if you're going to try working in assisted living, can you see yourself there? What type of job will you be doing? How will you invest in those people's lives and draw them to the Lord? This is a time for us to help people grow closer to the Lord, or if they don't have a relationship with the Lord, we are to be His vessel and like showing them the path, and hopefully they'll come to a relationship with Him, right? That's always our prayer.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's the intention. Connection. Okay, that is, for me, in the book here, I use my siblings. And I talked about Barbie, how she is my sister who led me to the Lord. And so she planted that seed. And she's still doing that today. She's very much gifted that way. What did I learn from her? Just to be intentional in people's lives, share life with them, and encourage them. And then also, I did the door to connection to my other sister, and I used her strengths and what I learned from that. And she enjoyed the outdoors, and she just really cared about people and gardening and everything like that. And then my brother, he was very determined and passionate about what he did, and he was very, very disciplined in his life. So the door to connection is like people who the Lord has placed in your life, and you kind of step back and say, okay, what am I learning from them? What gifts are they giving me that I can use to serve the Lord? And then the door to empathy, and that's how, things happen to us, and we want to share that empathy with others. For instance, when my husband went through his open heart surgery the first time, we knew then that, yes, we didn't know how the surgery would go. He was 35 years old, and he needed a new valve. But we knew that whatever would happen, it's a story there that the Lord is giving us to share with others. And so be empathetic of what people are going through. My husband now ministers to so many people who are suffering and facing surgeries and stuff like that. He's very, very good at that. The door to gratitude. And that's how, this season of Thanksgiving is such a wonderful time, even all the holidays and life itself.
Right.
A wonderful
Right.
time to be grateful for what we have. And then the Lord says, in all things, give thanks. Why? Because it's not because everything's going to be roses. It's because He put us here on this earth. He died and rose again for us so that we could have an abundant life. And it's for us to be grateful for that and show that gratitude to others. And learn from everything.
Yes.
And just be thankful for it. And I wrote in here about that poem I wrote about my brother the day after he passed away. Did yesterday really happen? Well, yeah, it was a terrible, terrible tragedy. And I learned that I'm grateful that the Lord ever gave me a brother,
Yes.
And what did I learn from him? So
Yes.
that type of thing. The door to acceptance, just to accept where you are, accept the life that you have been given, even if it's not easy. Accept it, embrace it. How can you give back, right? The door to peace. And that is a door to finally be at peace with situations that have happened to you. Especially in this quarter of our life, we want to make sure that we have forgiven people that maybe we need to forgive. And it's not easy. And it's not that we I know it's hard. Forgiveness is a whole facet.
Sure.
But we do, it's not that we're going to be that person's best friend, but we do forgive them because of what the Lord has done for us. And it's not going to happen all of a sudden. You have to, it's a lifetime. And so sometimes at this stage of our life, it's when we finally realize, yes, we can forgive and we can help others, and it would happen to us for another reason, unbeknownst to us. The other thing would be the backdoor guest. That's the final one. And that would be people who came into my life who have repurposed their lives. And I wanted their stories written down because I think they're tremendous what these men and women are doing in their retirement. And, it could be a whole book, right? Because, I mean, look at you guys. I just love what you have done in your retirement. So there is so much. And so that's my 8 chapters.
I feel like that's a word for anyone, not just someone looking at retirement.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And that's why I say on my website, Retire Purposefully, I say there's, as a speaker, I can speak about all these different things, transitions, that kind of thing. So it's not just retirement. These are things we need to learn in life. But it's in our older years that we realize it. A lot of times.
Right. When we have a little bit more space and
Yes.
grace, perhaps, to
Yes.
process it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yes.
I do think that's it. Yes.
So retirement is a season,
It
and
is.
the Bible talks about seasons specifically in Ecclesiastes 3. And as you are pondering the season of retirement, there was a blessing that God laid on your heart to be able to write. And while you have your book in your hand, we would love it if you not only read it to our audience, but really read it over our audience. A blessing for them.
If I can find it. Yes, I will. Also in my book, I have a retirement inventory. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
That was because there's different kinds of retired people, so I just give ideas of different jobs.
Yes.
I'm
Loved
finding
that.
what I'm looking for here. Okay, thank you. A final blessing inspired by Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 8. To every step along the road to retirement, there is a new door. to enter and a lot of time to walk through that open door with renewed hope and a focused purpose. A door to intention is inviting you to evaluate your unique gifts, redecorate your life accordingly, and investigate the new opportunities that lie ahead for you in your future. A door to connection is encouraging you to forge new relationships and strengthen existing bonds with friends, family, and God. A door to empathy is leading you to compassionately understand the trials and life's journeys that others are enduring and join them through prayer, partnership, and care. A door to gratitude is prompting you to no longer dwell on what you lack, but rather to focus on what you do possess. The door to acceptance is allowing you to embrace and find contentment with your new purpose in mind. The door to peace is gently pushing you to reconcile the pain of your past so you can step boldly into the future, knowing who you are and that you always will be in his mighty hands. Finally, as you enter the back door, you welcome and listen to the voice of others in your sphere and beyond, gaining insight, encouragement, and hope for the future. You are free to linger longer. You have arrived.
Yes. Wonderful.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Tina, as we come to a close, is there anything you would like to share that you haven't so far today?
Yeah, that's a good question. The only thing I could think of is that a few people have told me to remind retirees that to be flexible with their life and their decisions. And if you find a dead end one way, it's there for a reason. Go another way. Or if the Lord puts you in a caregiving position, all of a sudden, be the best caregiver you can be, right? If you, just like if you are an artist, take the time to really look at all the details of what it is. That's one thing I found is that, wow, things have a lot more details when you draw them that you don't realize when you just look at them. Because you have to microscopically look. And then Psalm 34:3, magnify the Lord with me and let's exalt his name together.
Yes.
That has become my favorite verse in this whole journey, because when you magnify, what do? You make bigger. So we're making the Lord bigger. We're accepting him into our life to give him free reign. Like, not that he hasn't had it in the past, but we're acknowledging that we need him and let him shape your direction. And he's in control. We're not in control. And so I guess that would be my prayer for people, is that they just let God in and let him do his work in our lives.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Tina, we thank you so much for being with us here today, and we have so enjoyed reading the book and listening to you talking about it today. We really did.
Thank you.
I have my extra copies that I'm going to be sharing with people.
Good.
And friends, we encourage you to order Tina's book, not just for yourself, but also for that favorite retiree in your life. And we even want to encourage you to perhaps gather a group together and go through the book as a group, because there are some wonderful discussion questions at the end of each chapter, and we really just think that you'll gain a lot from it. We also want you to follow Tina on her social media. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram at Tina Toedt Creative, and we're going to be linking that in our comments. She has such a wonderful sense of humor. You're so creative, Tina, and we know that you will really enjoy following her pages, so please do that. In the meantime, friends, we do pray that your week is sublime and that you live each and every day free above the fray. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.